He throws a rock. An Israeli sniper fires back, a bullet to the leg. Another Palestinian joins the thousands with wounds from a year of protests at Gaza's boundary fence. Week after week, they have come back here. Baha and Bateman got engaged after meeting at the protests last year.
We Palestinians have the right to live.
We are here in Gaza. We are oppressed people. We want to live our life. We want to feed our children.
The protests began over the Palestinian right to return to ancestral homes in the land that is now Israel. But they've become about much more, a venting of anger over the crippling state of life in Gaza. Nearly 200 people have been shot dead since last March. Last year, an Israeli soldier was killed by a Palestinian sniper.
The protesters are currently less than 100 metres from the perimeter fence. The Israelis, so far, they've mostly been firing tear gas at the protesters. And you can see people here who are throwing rocks back. Some have been burning tyres.
From the sniper's nest they watched, Israel deployed thousands of extra troops today. Explosives and petrol bombs were thrown at them, they said. They feared attempts to breach the fence and hurt civilians.
Right here in the building behind me, this was the scene of a rocket strike. Now, the rocket exploded in the street in front of us. The shrapnel came up this way, and you can see the pockmarked buildings, the pockmarks in the building here, and the breeze blocks broken, windows shattered. A 21-year-old man was running from this building, trying to get to shelter. He was killed by the shrapnel from the strike. One of 4 people, civilians in Israel, that were killed.
It took 4 hours of surgery to save Ola Hossein's leg.
I felt like I was dying, but they brought me back to life. I am truly grateful to the doctors.
This is another person being brought in as the protests at the fence continue. The problem is that each of these cases, as the numbers build up, require specialist surgical skills in a healthcare system already under pressure and which lacks doctors.
This volume of severe injuries is something that most countries never see. There are a lot of bullet wounds, as you know. There have been now over 5,000 bullet wounds since the end of March. And I was asked to come 3 years ago to try and improve the standards of arterial surgery in Gaza and train up people in arterial surgery here. There aren't enough, certainly when there's conflict, there aren't enough arterial surgeons.
And as a senior Palestinian official came to try and enter the village, the Israeli troops stopped him. I saw him being wrestled towards the ground. He was being surrounded by villagers and his supporters. These events have raised tensions here. The villagers and their Palestinian supporters are determined to show that they won't allow the demolition of this village. There have been Palestinian Bedouin on this spot for decades, and their village lies in a really strategic location. It lies between 2 big Israeli settlements next to the main road that runs between Jerusalem and Jericho. And it is for that reason that Palestinians say the Israelis want to come and evict this village and build here. Now, the Israelis say this is simply a legal issue about, well, what is in effect a relatively small bit of land. They say that the Palestinian Bedouin who have been here never had permits to build here. As for the Palestinians, they say that Israel makes it virtually impossible anyway for people to apply for such permits.
Election day is a public holiday for Israelis. Patriotic moment for some, but one that will shape the region's future after a turbulent campaign.
The Israeli leader has made a last-minute appeal to get the vote out. He's told his right-wing supporters not to be complacent, that his opponents could still win. This has, in effect, become a referendum on Mr. Netanyahu's decade in office.
Situation is very good, economic is growing, security is good. I think the welfare of the citizen in Israel is great. And of course, this is because of him.
We used to be Netanyahu people, but it's really getting too much, you know.
In what way?
Huh?
In what way?
In what way? There is an atmosphere of corruption.
Najwa says she wants to see her hometown of Sueda again before she dies. She left in 1979, a bride joining her Druze husband on the Israeli-controlled side. Her relatives were among more than 200 people killed in the IS attacks in Sweden last month.
Now the tragedy has been reawakened for us. We are constantly on edge. The anguish and the burden are indescribable. At any moment, we could hear that there has been a terrorist bombing.
Najwa's nephew Wissam was killed in an accident cleaning his gun as fear gripped the town in the days before last month's IS attacks. As we film, she calls his sister in Sweden. I wish I was with you during this tragedy, says Najwa. This is the closest contact these relatives can make, distraught from a current war, distanced by an old one.